There was a time any effort to bring love into each relationship that we have starts to spread out into relationships that we have in the world. Anything is possible as you surrender to loving all equally.
Judang soki chok nama Adu dakni kyap suji Taki chinche ki pe sunam ki Chola penche sangye jupasu Judang soki chok nama Adu dagi kyap suji Dagi chinche ki pe sunam ki Chola penche sangye chupasu.
Not so easy to get here. It is rare, each one of you in this room right now, to be excited to come to a class about vows. It's not the most popular subject in town. You have to know that, just from the start. It really isn't. It's really rare. Whether you're interested to take them or not, it's still rare. Your life is determined by the kindness that you've shown others. It's apparent if you're interested to hear about how you can even be more kind to others. It must drive everything that you do. Your kindness, it must. And I can feel the weight of it from each of you. I want to say seriousness of it, but then that ruins all the fun. Because it really is a fun life. But there is something about it that's unmistakably sincere. Sincere. I mean, we move through this life without the control we think we have. you really don't have the choices that we think. You know, to make the changes that you wish. I mean, life just, it propels us at a certain speed. And it's really extremely difficult to affect that and stop. You know, or slow down, you know, what is ready in motion. Really difficult. And it's set in motion by your actions and by you. You know, everything you think throughout the many lives, you know, and in this life. And we're always trying to slow down the aging process. I mean, there are an amazing amount of products and techniques and health remedies, you know, just to stop the aging process. Right? But this life is like it's like we're in this huge, powerful rapids of a river. If you've ever been in one, you know, going down a river in rapids, it just pulls you. I mean, it's the best you can do is not have the boat tip over when you're in big rapids. And that's how life is, you know. We really don't have that much control. It's pretty hopeless in many ways. You know, we're just driven to death and we don't even know when it'll come. We try to stop the aging and the time to move so fast, but it does. It just does. And we're controlled by past events, really, truly. You know, and that just throws us with velocity into death. I mean, only your mind goes on. The body will be finished. I mean, there's no proof that the mind doesn't go on. We see the body doesn't go on. You know, we can see that. We experience that. You might say some people's minds seem to disintegrate with age, but then some people gain all this wisdom with age and are very sharp till the very end, right? So you can't say, you can't really show a proof that the mind doesn't go on. I mean, it's invisible. It can't be divided. You can't touch it. You can't burn it. Your body will be burned, and the mind can still be untouched by that. Physically, mentally, it experiences. But the mind is not even restricted by the skin. You know it. You know, you could be thinking of something way beyond your skin right now. Your mind may even travel to places and touch the hearts of many without your body moving from that place. You know, there's a process where the body, you know, upon which the mind rests, it will dissolve. I mean, at the moment of death, there's incredible hallucinations and uncontrollable pain. It's a time when you won't be able to really think straight anymore, because the mind is at that time even shooting for it's just shooting for a different realm. You won't even recognize yourself anymore. But we don't think about this as we are going through our day. We're just basically trying to stop the aging process. We're trying to stop death with many techniques and methods and products that won't work. You might just look good, but that still isn't from the thing. that you put on your skin or tucked it in by or whatever it is. They do. I don't know. But we don't really think about our death as the day goes on. Anyhow, you're still not even really thinking about that. Really. Maybe when you're not feeling well, maybe when you see yourself in the mirror. Sometimes. But still, it's still not what you're thinking about for the majority of the time of your day. I mean, you're just trying to accomplish something, just to get through the day, you know, to just get through it, to just accomplish the one thing. So then you have to think, well, if that is what I'm focusing on, then what kind of powerful deed is that just to get through the day? What good will it really do? At the end of the day, it feels okay, because you made it. You got through it. Right? The pain might have been less, and you're happy. So that's good. But then you have to wonder, well, what did I do today that really is going to make a difference? And then some days there'll be something. You'll do something really great, and you'll feel really, and it will make a difference. There are days like that. We do have them. I mean, but we spend most of our time just looking for food, a place to live, a good relationship, a new job, a better position, a clean subway, nice shoes, whatever. I mean, we're looking for those things, but we're doing it without the right motivation that all things will only bring us suffering. Does that mean you shouldn't eat good food and have good shoes and a good home? No. You should. Eat well, walk with good shoes, and have a good place to live. But what's the motivation behind it? When we put all our energy all day long into these things, what's the motivation? Why? What are we doing it for?
For the benefit of others.
Hopefully you can keep that in your mind all day long. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully. And understanding where things come from. And what it will create. What you are doing. The impact it will have on others, on your life. But if you don't have the training, if you don't have the wisdom of knowing what even motivation can do, you know, if you don't have some idea, if you haven't experienced maybe the difference even, then that's a condition, you know? It's like you have a certain condition, and that condition will only make you suffer. In a way, from now until the moment we die, there's just sufferings that we're going to have. If you understand the sufferings, you know? The simple one of the suffering of just suffering, right? Where, you know, that's where you just have a back pain, a foot problem, or a headache, or a cough, or, you know, just regular sufferings that we usually go in and out of. Usually. You know, or your mental afflictions when you're upset, you're angry, you're irritable, You just don't know why. That's just suffering, just outright suffering. And we don't notice it all day long, generally speaking, unless you're having a bad day. Then it's all day long. You know. Then you notice it, maybe. You stand there because it's cold to wait. It's cold to walk home. You wait for the bus because you see a bus is close, and you're waiting and waiting, and you're wondering, why isn't the bus coming? It's still cold. And then you look and it's like, oh, the bus is not moving. But you've already wasted. You could have been almost home by now. And then you see another bus coming. You said, oh, might as well just wait. So the suffering leaves for a minute. You see the bus come. And then the bus comes, you get on the bus, it's air conditioned. Now you're even colder than you were if you would have just walked home. Then, but you're sitting on the bus, and the bus is finally you're on the bus, and it's limited. You're going to get home faster. Cool. Excited. But it's sitting there, and you hear this beep, beep, beep thing going for a long time. Beep, 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 and you don't know what it is. And you're freezing. You know, and you know what it is. Someone's getting on the bus, they need extra care, and so then you bring out a little compassion, you know, that helps you a little. And then you get home, and then when you get, you know, you're walking from the bus, you know, and it just doesn't leave. Just one block to walk, and everybody just walked into you, or this happened, that dropped, this dropped. It's just a moment, you notice it. It's like you can notice the continuous flow. But then you get home, and you forgot. You see, so we have moments like that where they do extend for maybe 20 minutes. And then something relieves you from that. And you think it's over, you forget. Until it happens again. So suffering is something that just disturbs your mental, your physical well-being. Big and small. That was small. We have bigger ones. Those are the ones we don't even notice. We just, maybe even in a moment like that, you might be thinking. See, if you're not tuned into where it's coming from, you're just thinking of all these external reasons why it's happening, which is even a bigger suffering in the end. But when you got home, it's the suffering of change that occurs. You see? That's the suffering of change. That's when there's this impure pleasure. Because something is impure, because what happens? You're only home for another hour, and then, I don't know, we can go on with what could have happened. You all know. It was just about 20 minutes of peace and quiet and relaxation you got till something happened. Someone came home, someone called, the food burnt, something. The restaurant didn't deliver on time. Suffering of change. The pleasure just doesn't last. It just doesn't last. I mean, every relationship is like that. Either you break up or they die. I mean, everything you have you'll lose, even your own body. You know, that's our present condition. It's a condition we have, you know. Pleasure will just deteriorate. It dissolves. We have it. We do have it. It doesn't seem like we're always suffering, right? Because we do have some good times, but they end. Why do they have to end? They don't have to. They don't have to end. They don't. They shouldn't. It's like, what are we talking about? The flies and it's like licking honey off a razor blade. That's what they say in the scripture. I didn't make that up. It's very poetic though, huh? Yeah. You've licked it off a spoon. You probably never tried. Please don't try that. But that's what life is like. You have that sweetness. But at the end, when you get to the bottom of this, you know, the end of the sweetness, It just cuts the pleasure. Something will cut the pleasure. The negative deeds in your heart. Just cut it. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, I mean, you want to be thinking, how can I change that? You know, because that's the nature of our lives. I mean, it happens because it's mixed. You're doing good, you do goodness, but it's mixed with negative intentions. Or no intention. You know what I mean? Like just doing good. It doesn't have any power. It's not charged. It's not charged with understanding where it really comes from. That's what gives it power, charges it for never-ending happiness. Not mixed. You know, when the power of the karma runs out in your mind, then you perceive what you're enjoying as suffering. Because you're still in it. You're still at the beach, and suddenly the sun's set and it's cold, and the jellyfish are in the water, or something. But you're still there. So you suddenly perceive what you, just a moment before, perceived as something great, turned like that. Like that. You didn't even see the jellyfish, those long things. Remember those things? Those long little, they were like string in the water. You look and what's that? Boom! It was like, whoa! I don't know if you've ever seen them. Yeah. Anyway. And it just changed. I mean, the water was beautiful. Couldn't have been warmer. Couldn't have been great. All of a sudden, and there's a string that snaps at you and causes you pain for a long time. That's life. That's what happens. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And you kind of don't think about it until that moment when it happens. You really don't. But the condition we have is like a pervasive suffering, you know, where it's like always there, prevailing. You know, unless you're enlightened, it's there. It's having a body, you know, is that. If you have a body of flesh and bones and stuff, things go wrong. The moment you're conceived, you're on your way to your death. You are. I'm sure no mother wants to hear that in the labor room. Because it's such a joyful moment, right? For most. But because, you're human actually because of this mix of suffering. You see? You're human because of the mix of suffering. It's not that you have suffering because you're human. That's why you are that. The suffering could be a good thing in one way. In one way. It drives you to get out of it. That's why we're here. It should drive you to get out of it. Who wants a pleasure that ends? Don't want it. Everything we do is about suffering, and pleasure is suffering too, and all the good things that happen have like this rotten core to it. Because it dies, it decays, it ends. But the good thing is, it should really, really try to do something to get out of it. Because you can. You can. You don't have to. You just don't have to. You have to kind of get in it. You just know that you don't have to. It's not, you just don't have to. You can stop the causes of suffering, you know? That's the truth about suffering, is the cessation of suffering. It can end. When you finally get this, you will have that feeling of, I want to get out of suffering. That's renunciation. I renounce this suffering. I renounce this suffering life. I want out. You know, you don't have to be a hermit to have renunciation. You don't have to give up all your possessions to have renunciation. You just have to want to end this suffering, you know? You stop going for the small pleasures that will end. You find a way to have total bliss forever. Forever. It's possible. Once you really get that you can end this suffering, that you can get out of it, then you'll have like true renunciation. Right? It'll automatically urge you to even give up certain things. You don't try to get rid of things or go hide somewhere to gain the renunciation, you see? If you get it, if you really understand it, then you will automatically not be concerned with some things that you might have been concerned with before. We tend to go do things backwards. Not because everything's backwards anyway. It's backwards. It is. You know? I mean, you don't have to force it. You have to experience enough suffering. And I think we could all fill in that category. I mean, if it was one of those boxes you had to check off on the application, you could probably check them off. And for each it's different. Some is like real traumatic stuff. Some, you know, sometimes you just reach a point where just nothing works. You just know nothing has worked. It doesn't have to be big trauma. You just realize a point in your life that nothing has worked so far. Long enough. It worked for a while. You know, you just realize it's just not working. It's just not working. You know, the big sufferings, you know, they can throw you into, I want to change it, you know, sometimes. But don't wait for that. If you haven't had it yet. I mean, everything you try just keeps to seem not working long enough. But you have to really study that enough or contemplate enough. You have to hear really good teachings about it to really understand it. And to want to live a life of a warrior saint is that. Stepping into the war zone, you can say, of stopping your mental afflictions, of stopping the suffering that you have. The suffering of change. You want it off or on? You want it off? On. See, and then we'll get hot, we'll put it on. We'll experiment here through the suffering of change, just in case we forgot. They say on. If you hear these things over and over again, if you think them over and over again throughout the day, in your own mind, then you'll be tuned in. It won't just be waiting for the bus. It'll become this journey that will affect you for a long time. And it's only 8 blocks. Why'd you get on the bus anyway? Right. but it becomes something that you can have and share for a long time. Because you're thinking in this way. It's not just a bus ride. It's not just a walk to here. And if you follow the guidelines of these holy teachings, which will be guidelines of how to act and to think in certain ways, then you'll experience some joy that will last in this life. In this life. You don't have to continue living like you do. You don't. But you have to do something about it. So once, due to your understanding of what even little sufferings are, big sufferings are, big joys are, little joys are, based on that, your experience, your life, really. I mean, it's really based on your life. These teachings are based on your life. You've created these vows. They come from you. Just to know you don't have to continue the way things are. It doesn't have to continue that way. And you do something about it. It's kind of like first you have to know it, and then you have to do it. Because even if you just do it and don't know it, it's not as powerful as knowing it and doing it. Because we're doing a lot. Each and every one of you are always doing a lot of kindness, of goodness in the world. You have to be to get through the door. It's like a requirement. It just is. But once you really know wisdom, have wisdom, then it gives the power for it to change truly. You know, if you're focusing on this body can turn into light. This body can become enlightened. You can do it. And all others around you can do it. Others have done it. To even see someone, to meet someone who has. You know, and you want to get out of any discomfort, suffering, unhappiness, whatever words you want to use at this point. You know what I'm talking about, but you want to get out, but then there's a point where you just want also every single person also to get out of it. That's when you kind of cross over the line. That's when you stop going for the surgery for your own face. You know, to the Botox he was telling me about someone who got so much they couldn't even smile anymore or something. But maybe they were happy inside, you know. Maybe they look good. As long as they're not talking. But I don't know, you'll pay for the surgery for someone else. And yourself, of course. But it's like that. Maybe that's not the thing you'll choose to do for them. But you'll want them to have everlasting life also. With better techniques than that, of course. So that's when you kind of dive in. Because it's different. You know when you're just trying to get through your day. And it's a difficult day. But when you try to help someone else get through their day, even when you're having a bad day, it's different. It's different. Usually it's really hard when you're not having such a good day, actually. You have to be having a good day to be helping someone with a bad day. But trust me, if you're not feeling well, really help others. You'll feel better. You will. You'll get long life. That's the time to do it, truly. But it's harder. But you have to want to get them out of the real suffering, not just the day-to-day suffering. Then it becomes more, right? You just try to get them through the day, through another relapse or something, but to get them out of this suffering life is even bigger. Much, much bigger. That's the life of a warrior saint. That's the difference. Now you're just helping because you're concerned or nice, most of the time. Sometimes you have the view of enlightenment in your mind, but generally it's just because we're nice, and we're having a good day. But the capacity of becoming yourself someone who will have omniscience to know exactly what they need and to help someone else to become that, it's just incomparable. The same deed with a different motivation, with a different understanding, a different goal. It's incomparable. I mean, really, you must be at that state already to actually even really help somebody. But you don't sit around waiting for that to happen and do nothing. Obviously, you have to keep acting with that goal in mind, and you will become that, and you will help them become that. That's bodhicitta. Oh yeah, I want to give you the definition of bodhicitta, just for fun, in Tibetan. I think the other Tibetan, just go by the first, we skipped the first there. Say yandak, Dzogpe, Zhangchu. That's enlightenment. So bodhicitta is, say semke, pa ni, cher yangdak, Dzogpe, Zhangchu du. And for those who want to write the Tibetan should write it, if you can see it. That's the definition of bodhicitta by Maitreya. Just write any of it, just a little piece of it or something. What, you want paper? The wish to become fully enlightened for the sake of all beings. The wish for Buddhahood. It's a wish. It's a wish that every single being reaches that state for the sake of every single being. There's really little hope without guidance, guidance in seeking something beyond ourselves, because we want to seek something beyond ourselves. So it's hard to see what's beyond ourselves because we're so much in ourselves. So we need the guidance, to get beyond ourselves, to get out of ourselves. So if you have the wish in your heart, that will actually bring you to getting that guidance. Because the wish is, it's like passion, it's like it's this wish that you have, but then maybe you don't know what to do with it. It's a feeling, in a way. I don't want to say feeling because it's... I mean, to really understand that you wish for others to reach this highest place, you wish to reach it yourself, but at the same time, even their suffering is not what it appears to be. Nothing is what it appears to be. Nothing. Not even their suffering. And you have to get that to actually get out of it. You have to get that. That even the suffering is not what it appears to be. It appears that they are suffering, right? Maybe in the same way you are, maybe in a different way than you are. Depends on how you're feeling or how connected you might be feeling to that particular type of suffering. But bodhicitta is a wish to help understand this knowledge. You know, help others to understand this knowledge. But first you have to do it yourself. You have to experience some wanting to get out of suffering. Some suffering itself, and then wanting to get out of it. Some renunciation. Wanting to get out of it. You have to experience some of that. You have to want to get out of it. I mean, if you don't... Because, I mean, granted, you see some people, you say, oh, they're not suffering. I don't need to help them. Some things you don't see as suffering. Some things you do. But they're trying to tell you their problems. And you're like, how could that be a problem? You know? You got this nice house, all this money, all these things, people taking care of you. What are you complaining about? You're not going to help them, really. I mean, you're not going to know what to do, in a way. Because you don't think they're suffering, right? It's only if you feel that the other person is suffering. It's only if you see it as suffering can you help them. If you don't see it, then you won't do anything. You have a list, you know it. You have a list. These people are suffering more than these and these. I'll give more to these, less to these, that to this. We do. We all have it. And we're all attracted to different types of sufferings. One person will say, no, they're suffering more. You know? Those people over there, no, these guys are. And you can debate that. Well, is it this one? Unless you see it as that, then there's nothing you can do. So you start with the wish of helping at least those whom you see as suffering. Don't wait until you see it at all. But when you do, then actually it'll be so much more powerful. But that wish is like a prayer. It's the wish, we call it munsem. Did we write that? Munsem. Yeah. That's the wish in the form of a prayer. I wish I can end the suffering. I really wish that nobody has to be unhappy. I wish, I pray. Please help me to understand what I can do. Right? You're still asking, you know, you're still seeking of what I can do. I wish, I want to know. And then you reach the juksem, the wish in action. Then you know what to do. You take action. You know what actions you can do to do it. But first you taste, you know, bodhicitta in a wish. It's like a desire to help others. And then you know, and it could be a really, really strong desire. It could be a small desire. Depends for you. Of course, the stronger the wish, then probably the quicker you'll take action, right? But the wish in action, that's acting like a bodhisattva. That's when you decide you're going to do something to help others. And you take action. I'm going to do it. I have decided I'm going to do it. I take responsibility. I will help. It's actually a mental state. It's still a mental state, you see? Even though you're taking action. I am going to do it. And then you're thinking, what can I do? And then you request to your Lama, what can I do? You know, you listen to the teachings, to the guidelines of, that's part of even taking the action, is when you take the vows of a bodhisattva. But it's still mental, right? You still didn't do anything. Action, And then it gets more and more. And everything you say and everything you do, it'll be there. So you can say bodhicitta can be divided into what we call ultimate and deceptive bodhicitta, right? So you have ultimate is the direct perception of emptiness. And deceptive is this wish that we're talking about. It's deceptive. It's not true. Because remember, you're wishing to take someone out of the suffering that you see. You're not seeing the truth about suffering. So it's deceptive. The ultimate form is seeing emptiness directly. So when you want to get out of that kind of, when you want to get out of any kind of suffering, any kind of discomfort, you want to get out of it. And you have this wish for others. There's a relationship between you wanting to get out and this wish you have for others. There's a relationship that you have. Because there's a renunciation where you just want to be free from it. And then when that renunciation is focused on others wanting to be free, then that is the bodhicitta. It's kind of like that, wanting to get out of suffering focused on others. You can call that renunciation. Focused on others. You're tired of seeing them suffer as much as you're tired of your own. You're tired of seeing it all. So to begin is to take Bodhisattva vows. That's the action. The wish in the form of the action. And you have to have that wish in your heart to do it. You have to have that wish in your heart. Otherwise, you'll know. It'll just be like another assignment to do. It'll just be like, another thing to study. It won't be the same as, something else to memorize, something else to, I don't know. But they don't form in your mind. To really, really want others to just have not a single pain in their life, to have everything that they wish for. It's hard to focus on all day long when we're just trying to get through the day. Because it's tough to get through the day. I don't know, whether it's just tough to get to work or to find the job to get to work to. Or tough to find the good meal in that neighborhood that you're in all the time. You've been to them all, you're done with it. And You know, I mean, whatever it is, or it's big or it's small. I mean, I always like to point out the small ones because we forget those easy. We get used to them, especially in the city, right? You get used to it. You know, sometimes that's good because then you can endure, you know? You'll have more joyful effort to get through the hardships. Jason Kappa says that we are locked in a steel cage, swept along by that powerful river, what is it called? The river of suffering. We're not only in that powerful, the powerful turns of the river, we're locked in a steel cage, swept along by it. Before it was just a boat you were trying to balance down the rapids. Now it's like, but wait, you're in this steel cage, locked. That's our lives. We're just thrown into this river. And he says there's 4 turns, you know, four things that just keep sweeping us along, that you just can't get out of. So difficult to get out of. So difficult. The first one is birth. Having to take birth in this place, in this world. Just taking birth in this suffering realm is the first, you know? And then, of course, getting old. And then all the illness and the sickness that we have. Mental, physical. And then, of course, dying. And why we're locked or chained, you can say, is because we're locked into our past deeds. You know, we're stuffed into this steel cage of seeing things as self-existent. You know, we have this view of seeing things as self-existent. They have some nature of its own. Very hard to get out of that cage, of that view. It's amazing. It's just amazing. You know, we're just grasping to some self-nature of anything.
Can you change your view?
See emptiness directly first. Meditate 1 hour. You have to see emptiness directly first. You have to see the true nature of things. And even then, when you come out of the perception of seeing emptiness directly, you will still see things as self-existent, but you have no doubt that they are not. And then, until you eliminate the rest. Blah, blah, blah. So you want to free all from that cage of even seeing things as self-existent, because that's what causes us the most suffering. How we are seeing the things, how we see our lives, is what causes us our suffering. I mean, if you examine when you're not feeling well, or when things are happening, when you're uncomfortable, when you're depressed, how do you view this thing that's making you unhappy? You see it as something coming from outside of yourself, not something that you created, not something that you brought about by doing something in the past. Sometimes it's hard to put it together, you know, like, you know, when you can't even relate to something, you know, it's hard to find out, well, what could I have possibly done to bring this about? Sometimes it's hard. Really hard. So because we can't see those things, we need help from people who have done it, who have gone through it. Really, it's true. As much as we're all very independent people and kind of want to just do it ourselves and get through it, we have to learn some of these subtleties of especially karma and emptiness and things like that from people who have been through it. They help us remind us of maybe even our past lives of hearing the same thing, you know? Because you've heard it before. Otherwise you wouldn't even be here. Really, you wouldn't be here if you didn't hear it somewhere before in another life. You wouldn't have got this far. I mean, how many people did we, when I was coming here, it was just like, you know, it's Friday night, summer, you know, it's like packed. All those people were this close to coming to this door. Seriously. Of course they were. Otherwise they wouldn't have been there. As I walked by, they were this close to coming. All those people. And you know this neighborhood, it's packed. Right? It's harder to understand that. You understand, I was saying, you understand when people who were standing by the World Towers, you know, I don't even know what they're called anymore. They don't exist. I don't know. Twin Towers. Anyway, you know, they were there, and you could say, oh, maybe they had such a bad karma to be there, so close, but not that close, or whatever. You can understand it in that way, but think about it. To get through this door, this little door with this little cage thing, you know, that little thing down there. 2 doors you had to get through. I always think it's going to be locked or something. 3, 4. Ah, the mandala. They're that close. At this hour, at that time. Right there. Looking, which street do I cross? You know, where do I go? Which restaurant? Which one? Buzzing. What friend do I see? But you made it in. Lifetimes it took you. You have to know that. Lifetimes. To even find out what door it was. Even that's mysterious. Which buzzer? I'm like, isn't it just open? Right? So you've heard it somewhere before. You have. I have no doubt about that. You may not think so, but I So just to remind you who you might have heard of it before, we're going to go through the text that we're going to be studying. We have to do that. It's tradition. It's always the least wanted of a course. But actually it's one of the most important. Because without them, and without you once studying them and helping those teachings, you wouldn't be here. So you might as well know where you came from. So, what do we got? What do we start with? Oh, really? These are the principal texts and commentaries that will explain the vows of the warrior. Say Jiangchu, Zhonglam, Jiangchu, Zhonglam. Jiangchu is short for Bodhisattva. So it's the highway for the Bodhisattvas, written by Jason Kappa. And that's the main book that we'll study for the Bodhisattva Vows. It's not where they came from, but it's the... My Lama says it's the best explanation. I would have to agree, because it's... But... probably the only explanation I've got. And then there's Norbu Ucheng. Say Norbu? Ucheng. The string of shining jewels. That's by Geshe Sewang Samdrup. So then you have to say Jason Kappa. No, but just like, he's more popular. That's where we'll get an explanation of all the vows. So then there's the vows of individual freedom, the vows of the Bodhisattva, and the secret vows that are behind the walls, knocking at your door. If you want to think of the vows of individual freedom, they're the Prakti-Mosha vows. They're like we'll go through them at some point, some of them, just to know. But that's like, that's Vinaya. It's like focusing on, I will not hurt other people. Okay? I will not harm others. Then when you get into Bodhisattva vows, it's like, I will help others. See? I will not be selfish, I will take care of others. So it's a combination of not harming and helping. And then you get into the tantric vows, and that's, how could you say, that's where you make all that happen really quick. It's a certain attitude and certain way of living that you will become enlightened in this lifetime. You make it happen really quick. It's very powerful and very important. Because you want to do it in this lifetime. I do. Okay, and then we have some more texts. I'll go through them quickly because I don't think we wrote them. There are some texts. There are 4 early authors. One, of course, Lord Buddha. And these are all in the perfection of wisdom. So Lord Buddha, 2, the Sutra of the Essence of Space, the Sutra of Skillful Means. So one of those gives 13 of the root vows. The Sutra of the Essence of Space, 13 of the root vows. There's 18. And then there's one root vow, number 18, in the Sutra of Skillful Means. So this is ultimately where the Bodhisattva vows come from, are these texts that I'm going to be talking about, right? And then Master Asanga. We didn't write out English, no? Nah, I didn't write English. Nah. I thought about it. I thought about writing the English titles for you, too. Once you start writing the Tibetan, then maybe I'll do that. Right, because some people like to hear it. So Master Asanga is levels of the Bodhisattva, and that gives 4 of the root vows. Because one day you'll want to refer to these when you want an explanation more. Look them up and pray that they're translated. And in Master Shantideva, he took all the 18 root vows and put them all in one place. It's the one place where you'll find them all in the same place, and it's called the Compendium of Advices. And you know these are on your homework if you're going through them like this, right? And you hope it's in the text that you're reading if you're not writing it, right? Usually it is. And then last author is Master Chandragomi. And that's the 20 verses on the vows. And here he talks about Master Asanga's 4 root vows and 46 secondary vows. So there's 18 root vows, 46 secondary. That equals 64. What? Yeah, 64. Vows for the Bodhisattva warrior. Now, just with all that in mind, because now you're all titled and numbers and everything, I just want to say, vows are liberating. They're not a restriction. They're to free you. It's an excellent code of life. It's a lifestyle. It's not, they never, ever, ever feel restricted. I know some people, more than feeling restricted, there's always this like kind of squirminess about commitment thing. I think more so than feeling restricted. It's like, can I make that commitment? I think that, in general, is what people experience if it's going to be like a hesitation of some sort. It's scary. Yeah. They will make you very happy. They will make others happy to be around you. Others will enjoy your company better. It's not that you can't do this or you can't do that. It's a way of behavior that will make you happy. And you'll notice a change if you really, follow them. I mean, if you just take them and then, don't even look at them or don't even follow them. We'll go through them one by one. We're going to go through them. So it's not like a big mystery of what you. It's the one type of vow that you can actually study before you take. Like, you're not supposed to know what your Vinaya vows are before you take them. Can you imagine? It's interesting. I didn't know them. You just take them. And then when I took when I got fully ordained, I studied just the week before. It's fascinating. Something just ripens in your heart. But there's very beautiful changes, and you'll see them. And just to know, I'm going to the preparing to take them is in some ways done for those that are wanting to do it. Something you did already prepared you, your mind. But it's good to, before you, as you're doing it now for the whole weekend, because since it's a weekend, lucky you, it'll be easier to kind of keep up the motivation, because you should have a really strong motivation in your heart when you do it. Then you can take the action. So from a prayer, the source of all my good, some of you may know it, in one of the verses is what Jason Kampa is what will help you with the motivation. Sensam ke kyan suchum nam sum la gompa mena janchu minju pa lekpa tone geltse dompa la sumpa drapu lopa jingilo. Bless me to see clearly that the wish itself is not enough. For if I am not well trained in the three moralities, I cannot become a Buddha. Grant me then a fierce resolve to master the vows for the children of the victors. bless me to see clearly that the wish itself is not enough. The wish to help all living beings is not enough. And to have that is humongous, is great. Can't do it without it. To just have that. The wish to live for others rather than yourself, and that's not enough. That's great. That's extraordinary. It's unusual. It takes more than that desire, to just help someone. It takes more than that. You may find that emotion deep in your heart, but if I am not well trained in the three moralities, I cannot become a Buddha. If you don't become a master of these types of morality, which of course we'll go through, then you won't be able to become enlightened. Mainly, training yourself in giving and the rest, the five perfections and wisdom. I mean, you have the wish, you have the hope, you have the passion, for others to be happy, for you to be happy, to do things to be happy. You have it. I mean, otherwise you would not be here. You know that. I don't need to say that, but maybe you don't know it sometimes. I don't know. Really, because maybe you're even thinking, I can only come tonight. You still have it. Maybe you're thinking, well, whatever you're thinking. I don't know. But you do feel in your heart that you want to get rid of the discomforts in this life. And now you want more. You know there's something better. It's kind of like you have the old product. It's not even new. It's not even like something they just came up with. You got the inside scoop on the what's going to do it, and you want more. But if you don't have a certain level of morality, it won't happen. And once you hear more about that, you'll understand why. Just keep it in the back of your head, because we'll go through them, okay? But until you have that, then it just won't move forward. It'll just remain as that wish. But if it does, I know you'll still try, because you're determined. You're determined by your kindness. You'll still try. But maybe you won't get too far. It'll take too long. To master the vows for children of the victors. Grant me then a fierce resolve. If you cannot uphold a certain ethical way of life, beyond being a nice person, beyond, you need to train your mind, and that requires practice. It is a training, right? Because you have to get used to doing it. Again, it has to be able to come with ease. One day, you will emanate bodies without even thinking about it to help a million people. In order for that to happen, you have to, it's a lot of preparatory work for it. But it will happen. So you please bless me so that I may train myself with fierce efforts in the vows of the Bodhisattva. So it's that kind of feeling. Please, you ask your Lama to bless you, to effectively train yourself with great, mighty efforts. I mean, what kind of deeds do you have to do in order to have the perception to see the right things to do? What kind of deeds do you have to do to even hear of these holy guidelines of the right things to do? To see the things that you do manifest in happiness for all beings, to see it. I mean, morality is like a code of living. Please bless me to be able to train myself quickly. So, the morality of refraining from bad deeds, negative deeds, making sure that you are never polluted by doing the top 10 negative things out of all the 64,000, or is it 84,000 mental afflictions we can have, right? The top 10. You all know them. Help me to refrain from not breaking my vows. This is the first morality. You stay away from things that will ultimately bring you down. Give you a suffering result. Serve no purpose at all. I mean, it'll only hurt others and it'll hurt yourself. You know the top 10. Not killing, but rather protecting life. Not taking what is not given. Keeping purity in sexual relationships. Stop giving false impressions. Communicate honestly. You stop deceiving others, Don't separate people. Bring people together. You don't separate by talking or acting about others and talking just divisively. Stay away from words that harm others. Any word that hurts someone deeply. It's not the word; it's the word that hurts. Your intention. Stop and then stop wasting time talking. About things that get you nowhere. Things that have no value. Sometimes small talk has a value, so understand the difference. Sometimes it has big value. Anytime someone else gets something, be happy. Be happy. Be happy they get something. Be happy they get anything. Don't be happy when someone gets hurt, or is uncomfortable, or has a misfortune, or doesn't get the job that you wanted. Don't take satisfaction in misfortune. And then, most of all, please, believe you can reach perfection in this life. That's the top 10. Believe you can reach perfection in this life. paradise in this life. To think you have to die is a very serious wrong view. It's a misperception. Just thinking these things, that you cannot do it in this life, will give an imprint of not being able to do it in this life. So you have to think it's possible. Just think it's possible. The imprint will grow, and then you'll be like, stuck in that steel cage, going down that river. Wrong views. So that kind of a morality, right? That morality, the first one, it holds us, by keeping that morality, you hold yourself back from doing things that bring harm to others. And it purifies our ignorance, our worldview. If you have that kind of constant state of awareness, then you'll fight, when those things arise, and they won't be so powerful. Something will happen and you'll fight it. So there's different individual freedom vows that are based on not harming others. I spoke about it before. So those are the top 10. But then it's also this morality refers to is if you're a fully ordained monk or nun, or intermediate nun, a novice monk or nun, or you have lifetime layman vows, or at the very least, they say you have to be keeping the top 10 that we just went through. Those are considered in this category. So you have less mental afflictions because you have these things on your mind all the time. And then the morality of collecting goodness. Like that. Gather all the goodness you need. That's the second one. And that's the 6 perfections, using the 6 perfections. Do you know? We'll go through, because there are some new people here I can see. Giving. Giving what? Everything. Come on, money, food, shelter, blah, blah, blah. Everything, just give. It's a state of mind that you're just totally willing to give anything you have immediately without any hesitation. Right? Yeah. Just anything you have. Your body in service of others. Your possessions and your goodness to other people. Just giving. Perfection of giving is a state of mind, really. It's a state of mind. In action. A state of mind in action. And then morality is the second perfection. Ethical way of life. That's keeping the top 10. You're continually watchfulness, continually mindful. If you're harming someone, if you're doing something that just might be harmful, So you're looking to see what mental afflictions are arising, because you know it. When you're in a state of mental afflictions, then you're in a state ready to harm. You have some kind of affliction going on, you're ready to harm. Like that. So you have to watch. That's what you're watching. Where are you at? Where's your mind at? Any kind of discomfort. You're ready to say something to somebody that's not going to be nice. Therefore, according to what we were saying before, that's almost every minute. So, you know, it gets better. Patience, that helps. That's the third one, patience. Not getting angry when the time is just ready to get, ripe. Just good enough to not get angry. No, just good enough to get angry, you don't. It's some kind of endurance, some kind of acceptance you have at that moment, persistence, determination to just not do it. That's patience. That's not waiting for the bus. Well, you think you see it, but it's not moving. That was easy. When it's not coming, looking and looking. It's not that patience. It's a spiritual endurance, really. It really is. It's not being, not being discouraged when you face hardships. You just go and you plow through it. You do it. You have that kind of, and then that leads into the next one, which is joyful effort. It's an endurance, and you have this. Now you're joyful to make the efforts because of your patience. You take joy in the fact that at least you're trying. You have to do that. At least you're trying to do it. You take joy in that. You're doing something. You have to. Otherwise, because you're not going to see results really quick sometimes, so you have to be joyful that you're making efforts with the right things in your mind. So at this point, what happens is because you're joyful and with all these hardships, you have stopped serving your mental afflictions. You stop them from using you. You see, we serve our mental afflictions. We bow down to them all day long. We prostrate to our mental afflictions. We do. We honor them. We give power to them. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah. And then what will happen is then you'll be able to concentrate. That's the whatever number we're on. It's concentration. If you have joyful effort, you'll be able to do things, all the good things all the time. You won't be weighed down by that kind of, hardship, whatever you're going through. So you'll be able to keep focus effortlessly, joyfully, all the time. Single-pointed, Be concentrating on one thing, being a good person, not harming others, helping others, right? So it's a concentration. And then, of course, you'll have better concentration in your meditation. But you won't until you're concentrating in these actual, active, daily, moment-to-moment situations. And in order to that, really, you need the wisdom, which is the last of the perfection, but you can't really do the others without it. Understanding the ultimate nature of things, what creates how we see things. You remember things do not exist independently of you. I mean, you're creating causes for your future right now, right this very moment. You're creating causes for your future as you take time to do things for others. You have to continually reinvest. Continually. Because when any good thing happens, you've just worn out what you did before to have it happen. So you've got to continually reinvest. Don't lose it. Keep it. Reinvest it. Live the perfections of a bodhisattva. That's why you're so fortunate to be here. It's unbelievable good work that you have done to be here in previous lives. So don't waste it. Don't lose it. Reinvest it. So here's where you gather, you reinvest, you gather all the every type of goodness, the morality of collecting goodness, with constant awareness of what you're doing throughout the day. And choose the highest deeds. I mean, really, do the small ones, but choose the highest ones also. Make sure. Right? You want a good, when you invest, you want a good, what do they call that? Return. Huh? Payback. Return. Yeah. So invest in the high, take a risk. Do the highest good. Serve the most people with one deed. Serve someone who is serving the most people. Help others to get to the highest place. Help those who have helped you. And everybody else. You have to do it all. Maximize your effort, you know? We like that, right? We like to do that. New Yorkers especially, we like to maximize our efforts. That's why you're here. Then there's the morality of working for others. And that's keeping the above two moralities specifically for the benefit of other living beings. You see? It's doing that specifically for the benefit of other living beings. Constantly remembering your goal, constantly remembering for others, constantly thinking. I don't know, you find skillful ways to do that. You know, to keep that goal in mind. You know, you could dedicate the good things you do. You can do dedicates like after the act, and you could do before you do the act. You know, kind of stuff. While you're doing it, I mean, you know, but you got to find skillful, real skillful, concrete ways, even not just thinking that. And the result of that service serves to ripen in the hearts of others this morality. Thinking about living beings functions to make them better able to hear you teach. And you become available to do whatever they need. Should we open the door? I don't think this is like that powerful, do you? It's just like it was, and then it's not suffering of change. I know it's close to the end, but I can see everybody's son. I know how it goes. I've been there. It's going to be a hot weekend. Did you know that? I heard. In many ways than one. So be ready. There's a reason for it. We'll do that for a while. It's okay. You can hear, right? It's perfect. Okay. I'm just going to say a little bit about the advantages of getting through this. No. Yeah, it's supposed to go up all the way into the 90s. Did you hear that? Nobody heard? Is it just me? I mean, I don't know. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if they try to burn us out again. Last time they tried to flood us out again. Right? Now they're going to try to burn us out again. We'll go on the roof. We'll do it on the roof. That'd be cool. Can we do that? Can we get to the roof? Can we get to the roof here? There's a small hatch.
Go to the park and share one of these.
We should go to the park. We did it there last time. Right?
I would just get bigger.
Oh, he's like, it's so hot you can't remember. What's that?
The crowd would just get bigger and bigger because whenever there's people sitting around,
Yeah.
even if it's for no
We
reason,
could do that.
people just start
Visualize it.
changing it out.
I'm
Waiting
open.
till they figure out.
I would do that. Lorella's like, what? All the flowers at the park? At the park. She's like, well, the beach would be nice, but do we have a bus? Yeah, celebrate. Just jump into the water. It's cool down. You notice that? See? That's all. You just gotta. The benefits of the vows is not necessarily going to the beach or the park afterwards, but it is part of it. Celebration. There's 4 great qualities of the Bodhisattva vows. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, first of all, you're taking the vows from somebody. They're granting you the vows, but really you're taking. It's kind of like you watching yourself take them. Okay. But when you're close to breaking them, because you're actually taking them, so it's one thing like you're following, and I know some people do. They have the vows, they're keeping their book according to them, but they haven't taken them yet, right? So maybe then you can get a sense of this. From doing that, you might get a sense of this part of it, but you actually take them. So you're getting close to breaking them, and you kind of remember, if you don't forget, when you took them, who you took them with, and you think of that person. And you kind of imagine them there, and they see you breaking the vows. It kind of helps you to, or the situation, the day you took them, you remember. And that, when you're close to breaking it, it kind of pulls you back from doing it. There's a certain, it's almost a memory. It's not even very conscious. It's how our mind functions. It's a certain kind of shame. We call it, it's a certain feeling of shame that there's what will that holy person or that holy how can I taint that holy moment that I did, and just even that thought, you've already pulled back from doing something. You see, you've already just to even get that thought in your mind at the moment, you've already stopped, and then you might still do it, right? But but it already stopped the power of it a bit. But the person you take because also you have to take them from a person that you feel has certain qualities. And we'll go through those, so don't panic. So, but one quality is knowing that they also keep their vows very well. So then it would be that kind of feeling like, well, I'm going to do this, but I want to not do that because I know someone who's taken those vows very well, and it's a little embarrassing. It could be. I don't know how that works for people. Some people don't care what other people think, and this is not going to help you at all. But the scripture says it will. You let me know. I know what it's like to go and confess to my Lama. It's not easy. Especially when they look at you like, and they're like, oh, well, that again, or there'll be all sorts of reactions, and then you're like sweating. Yeah, I can remember. Anyway, so it functions in different ways for all of us in different. But it's a mental function of stopping you when you're about to do something. You remember how you knelt down, and you promised to act for the good of every being, and now you're just not going to do it. There's something in that. You know it. Because they uphold something that you were trying to uphold. It's like at work, in a way. You have to go to the boss and tell them how you just didn't do it. I messed up on that job of 1,000 production of something. It's hard to do, to own up to it. You'd rather say, well, he didn't do it. It's easier, much easier. Oh, he didn't do it right. It's much easier to go to someone. But when it's yourself, okay, you have a certain image of yourself. Again, so in other words, when you take the vows, you have that image, that imprint that you even have of yourself doing it actually is what helps the vows to form in some way. Creates an imprint. And then you have this, the second thing is that you have the benefit of taking them is because you had such pure intention. You know, when you're close to breaking a vow, you pull back because of how you yourself would feel, really, because you had such a pure intention. You're like, you had such a pure motivation when you took them. And then to watch yourself after having such a pure motivation to kind of, you know, that's the low self-esteem. That's disintegrating, you know, something. And it's very hard. You don't want to destroy your healthy self-esteem. You know. So it's kind of a consideration, you know, like you feel, how you feel about it yourself and how someone else might also feel if they see you doing something really wrong and they think bad of you. You consider it that it may be a negative karma for them at that point. To think bad about you, a bodhisattva. Actually, it is a negative karma for them. So you keep them so you can become enlightened and really help people. You know, that's your motivation at the time. And that's what helps them to firm with that pure motivation. And then it's a special kind of thought that you have in your mind. And you have to bring that thought about. You have to always have that keep coming up. So there's some image you keep having of yourself of having that intention. You have to kind of remind yourself of that intention, actually, often. You do. And then this one, I think everybody likes one of these, this one. One of the best qualities is you can fix them. If you break them, you can fix them. Unlike some other forms of vows. Bodhisattva vows you can repair. They can be taken over. So even if you have them, you could be repairing them and refreshing them when we do them. And you should. Take every opportunity to do that, actually. So it is a great benefit because you will break them. And you have to learn how to restore them. There's certain ways. So it's a way of life and you will fail. But you can restore them. But, well, actually, if you have to restore them many times because you need to get back that strength. But you never really get the original strength back. You can restore them to a certain level. You can purify them, and you have to try, and you can, but it depends on which of the vows, and you know, it's not like, oh, well, I could just take them again, oh, I could just do it again, oh, I could just, it will harm your ability to see emptiness directly. Keep breaking vows and taking them, breaking them. There's something in that. So, yeah, it's a good quality, but it also is not an aspiration, right? To don't let that be one of the reasons why. Because you won't attain certain levels of a bodhisattva in this life. The power gets diminished. But you can take them again. And you can keep from breaking them in the first place if you possess the first two qualities strongly, right? Then you'll never come to be breaking them anyway. And that's one of the benefits. If you have those two elements strong enough, then you won't anyway. And you know, there's a root downfall. There's 18 root downfalls and 46 secondary offenses equaling 64. So downfalls is like, you know, pretty much what it is, a root vow. It's like you can just fall off the cliff you know? It's a major slip up. And then the secondary offenses are less because they're secondary. You'll read in the reading and that some schools of Buddhism said, no, there's more categories than those two. They could be broken up this way, could be broken up that way, and so on and so forth. And I just want to say that I think the reason the commentaries talk about that is, how do you say, well, they say it's not that because if you break a root downfall because you've gone crazy for the moment or something, then it becomes a secondary offense because there's some kind of extenuating circumstances. So it therefore then becomes a secondary offense. So it becomes the power of a secondary vow. So there's only just those two divisions. But they mention it in the reading that there were changes made to say there was this many, there are this many, and it's on the homework, so I have to mention it. But I think the point that I want you to understand is why they would even spend many texts discussing this is to, in your mind, be thinking that, number one, these vows come from a being who is omniscient, who knows exactly what it's going to take you to get there. What's to change? What's to do differently? Why should it be different in 2008 than it was in 1 or before then? You know, really, what's the difference in the mind stream? You probably took them already in another life. And you're just restoring them. But you will see once you start to practice, and you'll have no doubt, but it's about how they just fit perfectly into your life now. It's kind of a wrong idea to think, well, I can cut the roots of a teaching. You know? Sure, you have to use skillful means to teach others, and you must do that. You must use the foundations of teachings and use skillful means to teach others many things. You must do that. But you're not cutting the root of the teachings by doing that. You're not. You know? To think that one could just throw away a very holy idea and change it or something. Jason Kappa says it's like it's a great rain of hell that destroys the tender crops of the happiness of all living kind. It reflects. It's like throwing it away like garbage. You know. It's like saying, I'm going to keep the Bodhisattva vows, and I don't need that normal morality anymore. It's like saying that even. Who needs those top 10 when I'm a Bodhisattva? You know, and then it's even more foolish to think that, oh, I have secret vows now, I don't need my Bodhisattva vows anymore. Or I'm a Bodhisattva, I don't need my monks and nuns vows. That kind of thinking is like a hailstorm just coming and ruining all the crops and the merit that you have planted in your heart. All the virtue you've harvested. To think that it just wipes out the whole field. It'll be a storm that just destroys all the happiness of all people. So even if you get a big initiation in your life, you should never give up your Bodhisattva moralities. It's important to keep the basic ethical ways of kindness, of living. You know, all of a sudden some high Bodhisattva, you know, and you can just... It doesn't make sense anyway. Logically, it doesn't make sense that you would give up any kind of kindness once you take more and more vows or something. It doesn't make sense. But it's something to watch out for. You know, to think you are a high Bodhisattva and that others are lower than you, suffering, and you're going to help them, right? Think about it. They're suffering. I'm going to help them. I've taken all these vows to help. You will. It will come to your mind in some way. Like you're thinking now, no, what would I do? It will. I'm a Bodhisattva, I must help, you know, with pride rather than, you know. If you think about taking even the vows, they say, hey, you know, to be better than someone, then of course that's a bad motivation. I think more in the country where there were lots of vows, you know, in the old days it was a little more. I don't think people are walking. I mean, if that was the case, they would have all followed through the door. Right? I mean, that'll serve no purpose, you know, to have a motivation that you would be better than, that you're better than the person you're helping. What purpose does that serve, really? I mean, it doesn't even serve yourself. I mean, so what the best thing you can do is to keep every form of kindness and not harm anybody. Keep your simple morality without ever losing sight of serving others. You know, you humble yourself to know that your every action will be for others. Your every action will be for others. You're giving up the motivation to live for you only. And that's the way we've been living all along. To think the only way to make your life better is to think of yourself first. You know, me, my, mine. You know, mine should be better. I should be better before I can take care of this one. I should have more before I can give that. Me, mine. You know? If you spend your energy all day long on yourself, then when will you have time to take care of someone else? When are you going to have time? You know how it goes. The day's done, and tired, and you know, you spend all day focusing on what you want to get for yourself. When are you going to have time? Don't wait for me, my mind, energy, my this, my house, my this, my this. You just do it. Just do it. You don't wait till my body gets better. I'd like to. When is that time going to come? How do you know it's going to get better? You know, give all you have now for someone else. And then you'll have the best world ever. Give it now. Why wait? You know, live for others. It's nothing better.
Sashi jupshin mitok tram virab lingshi nyente kempati sangye shindu mikte ubagi chokunyam dak shingla chupasho idam gururana mandalakam niratayami Adi keogun sunam yeshe tsotokshi sunam yeshe le jongme tampa kunyi topasho.
Thank you.